Welcome back. In this video, we're going to work a little bit more on the animation, get his orientation correct, and then basically perhaps bring in the enemies, depending on how long it takes us here. So first things first, one of the troubles that we have, and we can see a little bit better with the, I guess, in the game view, when he's running, we kind of want that gun facing forward, right? We've got him working pretty good, left and right, and so on. It's not too bad. But one of the things that we want to do is get that animation right. So we're actually going to go right into the animations again. And we'll first deal with the idle one, because that's the one we've got here. And if we sort of look at this here, now you don't quite see the gun, because that's not part of the original model. But you can see he's kind of, off to the side a little bit. We want him going forward here. He's sort of holding the gun off to the side a bit. So to fix that, it's relatively easy. I'm just going to go here. And like I said, so he's in his idle. We can't really see the gun, but we know we need to rotate this. And so to do that, we need to go into Root, Transformation, Rotation, and go into Bake into Pose. And then you can start playing around with the offset. And you can see we can sort of pull him sort of that way so that his gun's facing forward. So we've got about 50, 60 degrees or so. And again, perfect there's no perfect number here, but one that looks a little bit better. So I'm going to hit apply. And then, so now you can see right away, we're in game here. So let me go into scene and maybe the top down view. Let me just click on that now he's got that gun facing forward. Now, when I go walk forward, if I go into the game here and walk forward, you're going to see it goes off to the side. And that's just because we have to do the other animations as well. So let's do those. It's going to be the same process, just with a slightly different number. I can guess we can leave it on game there playing. It doesn't really matter. This animation is slightly different here. So we did a walk forward and a walk backward. So if I go down to, I think that was the one. Walk forward, probably. I think that's the one we're using. So again, now, if we play this one, right, we can see he's kind of walking at basically 45 degrees to one of these lines. So we just want him following sort of this line here, right? So again, we can leave that on. We can go into Bake into Pose, and then the offset. And depending on which way there, I think that's better. So there. So you can start to see how he's walking closer to following this line here. So that looks pretty good. If it's off by a little bit, again, not a big deal. But we basically want him walking where this blue arrow is, following one of these. It's kind of horizontal line here. Okay, and then we can. So let's just check in here. See if I'd apply that. Sorry, apply. And so when we walk forward, see now you can see that the gun's basically pointing forward. We have to do that a little bit. I mean, it could be a little bit more. Maybe I'll do that a little bit more. Oops, wrong way. Maybe something a bit more like that. Again, you can play around. Okay, I'm just going to see what that does. Okay, so going for not bad. I mean, close enough. You can fiddle around. I don't want to spend too much time. We want to do the walk backwards. Walk backwards. So we've got that guy. Same thing. Hit play here. Go up to Bake into Pose, not for the position, be careful. There's the rotation, and then we just play around with this number. So again, trying to get the blue. So probably somewhere around there. Okay, again, you can do a little bit better than me. I'm just trying to hurry it up a little bit here for the video, and then apply that. And then we'll just double check. So now this seems better. It's still rotated a tiny bit, but it's not bad. And then the last will be our left and our right. And I'm just going to pause the video there, and you can do the same thing. Now I did the walk left already. I'll just do the walk right with you, because it is a little bit different now that I think about it, but the walk right and walk left are going to be the same. Again, Bake into Pose. When you hit play on this, the difference is we want it following sort of one of these sort of sideways lines, of course. So I'm just going to go back into the offset. Oops, that's the wrong way. Yeah, so negative again, probably about negative 30 again there. And we want him following the sideways line. So somewhere around there. again, perfection, whatever works okay. And apply that, and then just play here. Oops, click in there. So that looks pretty good. His gun's pointing more forward, left and right, forward and backwards. Like I said, you could make it a little bit straighter. I mean, on that back, it's a little bit off, but you know, just fine tune it for yourself there. All right, so we do have our enemy here, our mummy, and you're gonna have access to this low poly character, the mummy and sarcophagus, for use in our class. And so I've added it to it, so you should be able to drag it in. It's under this infinity PBR, and I guess we should probably throw that into our, where's our packages? Probably down here would be a good idea. Why do I have two packages? Seamless ground textures. Let's throw it into this one. Just to keep it in there. Infinity PBR. Let's just go back to our scene window and Infinity PBR. We open that up. Under the Infinity PBR, I think here, prefabs, and then our mummy, we can just throw our mummy into our scene. And there's a lot of cool stuff with this mummy. We'll look at it a little bit later on. And you can go into the demo scene if you want to play around. But it gives you a lot of cool options. This is just sort of the basic one here. I think if we hit play, he probably just goes into a... Ooh, he's just got his arms closed there. It looks like he should be in the sarcophagus. There's an animator on it as well. And so let me just see here. Mummy. There's our animator. I think if we go to our animator here, there's a bunch of stuff. And it looks a little bit messy here, but there's, we won't use all of these, but you can see there's attacks, ways of dying, and so on. Got hit. So there's a bunch of animations in there. And I think if we put this to 1, let's just see here, and hit play, not going to move. I think it needed one more thing here. Let me just see. Let me turn on one of these. There he goes. And off he walks, okay? So, where'd he go? So he's kind of a cool little animation there, right? And it's all sort of done for us. So our big idea, though, is to kind of work on this animator, like sort of create our own little bit of an animator here for it. So I'm just going to go in, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit here, because maybe just pull this up so I can actually see what I'm doing, because we've got so many things going on. Prefabs, assets, art, packages. Let's just clean that up. I'm going to create an animations folder, I think, in here. So I'm just going to assets, create, folder, animations. And in that folder, we'll sort of create this animator here. So I'm going to go to, I guess, right click again. We can do that. Create an animator controller. And we'll work with this, and we'll just call it mummy. All right. So what we'll do is we'll replace the current animation that's on our mummy with this mummy animator here. And it'll just sort of simplify it for our needs. So if we can find our mummy, and oh, there's our animator. Open that up. And so we have that demo one that's there. We're just going to replace it with this. Okay. So there is our mummy animator. And if we go look at it, now it's just very, very simple. So what we have to do, though, is we're not going to recreate those animations. We're going to grab those animations again. So I think that was under packages, Infinity PBR. There is our one, and I think where it is, I can't quite remember. We just need to find the animations here. So there's a script, prefab. Scripts, demo scenes, just a second here. Should be under the models here, there, LP, there we go. So there's our different ones. So the one that we want to have it come in as sort of our default one, we're not going to use the idle one here. We're actually going to use the walk, and I'm going to throw the walk in here. Okay, so if I now play this, the mummy should just automatically go into that walk. Let's just go back to the game, and there he is, and off he walks. Now we're going to do a little bit of a different thing here. We're going to get him just walking in place for the moment. And I think we can do that just by turning off the root motion. Yep. And he's just kind of doing the moonwalk or something there, okay? He's just in one spot. So to do that, we will get a script on our mummy, and we're going to use the Nav Mesh Agent here, which I don't think we've used in other games before. But basically, it's a built-in system in Unity that will sort of identify any obstacles and basically make our AI system much easier, because we want these mummies to sort of follow after our player. So first off, let's just get that script going. So I think we do have a script pack folder. So let's do a script here. Let's make a new C# script, and let's just call that mummy. And we'll open that up. And so pretty straightforward. We're going to have to create there's going to be a Nav Mesh Agent component on our mummy. So we're going to have to grab that. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So if you type in Nav Mesh Agent, it should find it. Doesn't look like my thing is fine. Just give me a second here. Aha. So the problem is you also have to use Unity Engine .ai. So it's a separate piece that needs to be brought in for that Nav Mesh Agent to find itself. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so make sure that you're using the Unity Engine .ai as well, and that will let us the Nav Mesh Agent show up. And so we'll just call this, lack of a better word, Nav Mesh Agent, just with a small n. And then what we'll do is we'll change this to awake. And we'll grab that component just like we're used to. So Nav Mesh Agent is equal to get component. And that component we'll grab is the Nav Mesh Agent. All right. And then we'll come down into the update. And so what we'll do, very, very simple here, is get it to sort of follow us, right? So this isn't optimized at the moment. We'll fix it up better, but just sort of to get it working here, we'll do a player. And so I think we can make that game object, and it will have to find the player. And so now let's just see if this works here. I might have to change that variable type there. Basically, we're going to find, you could find the player's name. We're just going to find the ones that have, I think this is going to give me an error. Yeah, the problem is that this is not a game object per se. So I'm just going to put this as a general one as var here. Basically, it's going to look for anything that has the player movement component on it, so the player movement script, and that's why we're using the var here, so it's a bit more general, not specifically looking for a game object. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the Nav Mesh Agent, and we're going to set the destination. So we can tell it where to go. And again, very sort of simple here. This is it has to be like it says a vector 3. So we'll do the player.transform.position. And that should locate the player in the game, because it has the player movement script, and then move it towards it. Now it's not going to quite work yet, and I think we'll just sort of end the video here. Just make sure that there's no errors. When we go back, I think we're good. Okay, yeah, so there's just a little bit about the asset pack there. That's okay. There's no problem, but we need to sort of put a few things on the mummy to get it to work. And so on the mummy there, I mean, we can put that script onto it, I guess, for the moment. But we're also going to have to add that Nav Mesh Agent. Maybe we'll just start on there. So if you find it, I think it's under Navigation, and there's a Nav Mesh Agent. You can add that there. And in the next video, we will sort of get this working here.